History is replete with saints and prophets. Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, St. Thomas, St. Francis, St. Paul, the list goes on and on. But what all these great men have in common is that they are all long gone. In recent times, you almost never hear of anyone being called a sage or a saint, let alone a prophet. Yet I would argue that this is not because such people do not exist anymore, but rather because we, with our modern-day sensibilities, no longer value spiritual or psychic insight. And so we simply turn a blind eye to it, if not outright scorn anyone who might actually be worthy of such status and honor. If someone like Matthias de Stefano, or Eckhart Tolle to provide a more famous example, were born, say, 2,000 years ago, they would have surely been heralded as prophets or sages. Entire religions might have formed around them. Same goes with Maharaji, Ram Dass's Indian guru, or even Ram Dass himself, who I consider to have been a semi-enlightened being. There are probably dozens, if not hundreds, of such people living on Earth at any given time, but they are not propped up in the manner of Hollywood celebrities, and so live their lives in relative obscurity. Because our society is currently so preoccupied by the physical, so obsessed with sex and money and a myriad of other materialistic pursuits, such spiritual figures go largely unnoticed. We instead worship celebrities. This makes sense when you consider the context of human history, for the vast majority of which only kings and emperors ever accumulated impressive displays of wealth. But in that case, it was either inherited or else stolen through conquest, and was therefore more worthy of fear and jealousy than genuine admiration. The last century or so of Western capitalism has provided the first opportunity for basically anyone with sufficient talent, hard work, and luck to attain astonishing levels of material success. The typical examples we're all familiar with include actors, pro athletes, music artists, and powerful businessmen. In a godless society that prioritizes entertainment above all else, is it any wonder we turn to such flashy examples of superficial success as our key idols and inspiration? Now, another reason for the lack of saints and prophets is that such titles simply go out of vogue, in the same way that you don't hear about knights and lords and ladies walking around anymore either. Language and labels are constantly changing. That's true, that's definitely a part of it, but it doesn't invalidate the previous points. But to continue to play devil's advocate for a second, one might say that we've moved beyond all this nonsense of prophets and sages. We're smarter than that now. We have science and technology. They've become our guiding light, our main source of knowledge, not some archaic religious traditions. We don't need that stuff anymore. But have we really evolved that much? Or have we actually regressed in a way? In the 21st century, despite all of our creature comforts and high-tech luxuries, we are ironically more jaded than ever, more aimless and anxious. We've lost that sense of wonderment and awe of the world that our ancestors possessed in spades. We've become disconnected from nature and even from each other. And as a result, many people now feel this growing, gnawing sense that their lives lack meaning. Does the cold, uncaring logic of scientific materialism really represent an improvement of the human condition then, in a time when depression is epidemic and mental illness runs rampant throughout our communities? In discarding religion and all the spiritual wisdom it's packaged around, I believe that we've inadvertently thrown the baby out with the bathwater. So maybe it's time that we reevaluate our priorities. Are entertainment and material success really our highest ideals? Or maybe, just maybe, is it time to start reinvesting in spirituality, to go within and reconnect to something deeper, and start listening more intently to what the modern day sages and spiritual leaders are saying? I think that one way or another, this is already happening, and it's inevitable. As our corrupt and inept leaders run our first world economies into the ground at breakneck pace, people will be forced to make do with less. We won't have the luxury of drowning ourselves in entertainment, in numbing away all our pains and discomforts in an endless sea of distractions. And so more people will be shaken out of the daze and awaken from the spell the system has laid upon us for so long. They'll start asking deeper questions and getting back to what really matters. And hopefully, as this process unfolds, more and more of us will stop caring so much about celebrities and their out-of-touch opinions, and become less mesmerized by material possessions and other superficial notions of success. These false idols and misguided ideals are not worthy of their place at the pinnacle of society. They never have been. They're overrated dead ends, and it's time that we evolve beyond them.